After diving in, no pun intended, to the recent Olympics, we really wanted to entice you to look at that spark in yourself that may have been there from the very beginning and to let it resurface. You may have been taught or encouraged to hide it, but we hope you're in a safer place to listen to and follow your heart and not feel crushed that certain things may not be for you. That spark of desire can easily be overlooked. We're reasoned out of it by parents, church, kids in school who tell us that will never be. But there's something inside us from when we're small, like a guiding star. It is part of what it means to just be you. Today, we want to help you light that inner spark and let it shine.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
Well, hello and welcome to the FreedHearts podcast. My name is Robert Cottrell and I'm here as always with
Susan Cottrell.
Hi there.
Hi.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. Welcome, everybody. Again, please connect with us at freedhearts.org. It's the center of our universe. And please support us if you can. We are a listener-supported podcast. No ads on this show by design. And please do subscribe or follow. That means a lot. And since you're on there anyway, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. That means a whole lot. And thank you very, very much. Not sure about you, but we really got into the recent Olympics.
Yes.
We give the bronze medal to Jordan. Wait, who? I don't know who. Who should we give it to? Give it to them all. Okay.
Give it to them all.
Anyway. Okay. Little side note there.
Both, I should say.
Back on track. We really got into the Olympics. We always do. I never knew, sweetheart, I never knew how much I just love archery and speed walking and water polo. And of course, we love the track events, and gymnastics is our all-time favorite, beach volleyball, things like that.
Yeah. Well, the first time we heard of Misty May and Carrie Walsh was in 2004. When
that's beach volleyball, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and they won the Olympic gold for that. And they also won in 2008 and 2012.
Wow.
But what stands out to me about them is that as we watched in 2004, Natalie I think she was 11, and she loved watching them. She just loved it. She started figuring out that, let's see, if I start now, I can train, I can get really good and make it to the next Olympics. It was so adorable. And, is it realistic in the real world? No, not really. She did go on to play regular volleyball and got really good at it, but it was not going to be the Olympics for her, right?
That's I think we forget sometimes how absolutely elite these athletes are.
We do.
And
yes.
Sometimes I'll turn on college gymnastics just to watch that, and it's really cool because they cheer for each other, and they'll stand around the floor exercise, and they'll do the little routine movements together.
They know each other.
Yeah, but the level, and they're fantastic.
Yeah,
but the level is not up to Olympic level,
right?
And the same thing where these are the elite of the elite of the elite athletes.
Right.
So there are a lot of people playing volleyball and gymnastics
That's why they're
out
called
there.
athletes.
Wow. Okay, we're going to have a meeting of the directors of this podcast and talk about who's in charge of the comedy. And it's clearly you. So anyway. Yeah,
anyway,
we loved her verve and her passion.
I know it was so adorable how she was about it. And even though Rob and I smiled at each other about how adorable she was and how precious, we did not ridicule her at all. But we did underestimate her. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Because later she trained in CrossFit and became very good at it. She became strong at it. And, she calls it, or they call it, functional fitness, where you gain strength that you can use, which I love. And she became confident.
And she competed and she won medals in that.
She did.
She did, yeah.
She did, yes. And she became confident that she could take this on and do it well. And we watch American Ninja Warrior, actually. It's one of our shows. And we always think of her. And she's not at that level, but she is very good. And she has that kind of heart. And so I say all this, by the way, This is not about physical ability. I would personally do CrossFit no more than I would swim the English Channel. So.
Yeah, now we are not fitness fanatics.
We are what?
We are not fitness. We are not sporty people.
Right.
Although you did. I mean, I watch sports, but you did a half marathon.
Oh, I did.
Yeah. And sometimes when I'm traveling too, by the way, I do my steps. I think, oh my gosh, I walked like 10 miles today.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's a half marathon almost.
Almost. Yeah, but you did a half marathon.
I did, but I walked the whole thing, and they had an option to do the whole marathon, but I just wanted the half, and I walked it every step of the way, and it was great.
Yeah, and it was actually related to the work that I was doing back then. We were doing back then with kids with cancer, so it was a big group, a big marathon group doing it, and you thought, hey, why not?
Yeah, and I thought it'd be fun, and it was fun. And I've always enjoyed walking, and I thought this is just a really long walk. Than it was, but there's no way. First of all, there's no way I was going to run, and there's no way I'll do CrossFit or beach volleyball. But and there's no way I would. We will occasionally
be cross and be on the beach,
right.
But those are very different things.
Right. Okay,
that's
true.
Again, okay, yes, it's clear now that you are the one with the humor. Okay.
My point is
we have a point in all
this.
We
have a point in all this, that this is not about physical ability or pushing yourself beyond the limit or any of that. My point is that there was a spark inside her. There's a spark inside of us that speaks to us and that was something in Natalie that she expressed as her plan to go to the Olympics, in beach volleyball. And
yeah, I mean, even though that desire ended up expressing itself in a different way with her, with CrossFit.
Yeah.
The drive was the same. The spark was the same.
Yeah, exactly. She had a fire in her, a vision for who she saw herself to be and who she could become. And we didn't see that because it wasn't our spark. It wasn't our vision. It was hers. And it's only looking back that I saw how she fanned that spark in her own heart into a fire and followed her passion and came to life. And so that's what we wanted to talk to you about today. We actually planned what we're talking about. And we wanted to, believe it or not.
Contrary to how this sounds.
Right.
We had a plan. Imagine if we didn't. That's what it sounded like.
Exactly. Anyway.
It's also, I want to say too, it's nice to get back on this, do a lot of laughing and talking about You're in a Spark. We've done a lot of heavy lifting, beloved, and we are so proud of you. I think at this moment of those weightlifters, the 52-pound guy that lifts 9,000 pounds, whatever it is, I don't really know, but just that the heavy weightlifting and we've done some heavy weightlifting here.
Yeah, with that deconstruction of the teaching of contempt,
and it was necessary. It was necessary in order to deal with some of the core issues that prevent you from knowing how beloved you are and you knowing how beloved those around you are. But it's so nice to get back to this affirming, positive, inclusive message, and that's going to be our focus here moving forward too, just by the way. So anyway, just a little aside there. So.
Yeah, that sounds good. So anyway, I guess we really wanted to talk to you to entice you to look for that spark in yourself that may have been there from the very beginning, and to let it resurface, to maybe find a safer place now to listen to it. I hope you are in a safer place than you were back then. And that you're not being crushed about things, why these things will never be there for you.
Yeah.
Because they can be there for you.
I also think of the spark that was inside Hannah from music.
Yes.
And how, we let that develop however it developed.
Yeah.
And with her, it ended up being a Grammy nomination. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
But if it didn't.
And more than that, the intro to our podcast.
That's right. The music for our podcast.
Right.
Much more important than a Grammy nomination. It's a Grammy and a Grandpa nomination. Jeez, all right. But if it didn't lead to that and it just led to her doing what she loved,
Yeah.
whatever that is, athletics or
yes.
music or theater, what a gift that is. And
Yeah.
that spark of desire can be so easily overlooked.
Yes.
And we are reasoned out of it.
Yes.
Reasoned out of it by parents, by church, by other kids in school or peers.
Yes.
And told that, oh, that's just a silly goal. That'll never be. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or you can never do that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think about all the journaling I did as a child, and I still journal now, and it's like there was a spark in there that was very important to me. And, and the girls had a passing interest in gymnastics when they were kids. Maybe we were watching Olympics gymnastics or something. And, and I pointed out that the girls were too tall to be in the Olympics gymnastics. I'm not sure that was necessary.
Looking back, probably not. But
I guess it's not like we're going to go an Olympic route. They
that's the reasoning out of it.
Yes,
it's like I'm gonna be nominated for a Grammy. Well, honey, do you know how many people?
Right.
How many musicians? Well, just don't get your sights set too high. You don't want to be disappointed. It's so easy to sound so freaking reasonable,
right?
In that, instead of just letting the spark light whatever it lights.
Yes.
Yes.
That's exactly right. That is the challenge.
And I think the moment that we start to reason and put definitions on what that looks like, it limits their ability to be satisfied with it.
Yes. Yes.
If we talked about,
if they're not going to win American Idol, they may as well not even open their mouth to sing. Yeah,
if you're not going to make a living from music, then don't do it at all. Just let the spark be what it is.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And that's again, that's what, we're the parent.
Right.
And sometimes you don't know, are you giving them helpful information or are you crushing their dreams?
Exactly. Exactly. And we brought all this up to talk about following your inner spark.
Yeah, about you.
Yeah. This is not about, I think I made it clear, it's not about physical prowess or whatever, that we would not qualify for that. So, anyway,
that's right.
Or being able-bodied or anything.
Yeah. But, if it were, we wouldn't be talking about that. But this is about you, whatever that looks like for you, your inner spark.
And that
could be like with you. You talked about writing, music, art, sports.
Yes.
Whatever, ceramics, whatever it is that is your spark, fan fiction, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Let that develop in your kids, of course, but in yourself.
Yes. Because art is something I always wanted to do, and I did so little of it because I didn't like the way I could draw, and I didn't value, stuff without drawing. And I only recently got into it again, past 10 years. And it's been like my life has, it's been a light bulb has turned on in my whole life.
I mean, your spark
doing that. My spark was lit.
Yes.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But there's something inside of us usually when we're small that if we pay attention to it, it's like a guiding star. I was talking to our son the other day, just catching up, and he said, "You still writing?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "You always wanted to do that, didn't you?" And I said,
Aww.
"Yes. Yeah." That was, I guess I hadn't thought about that in a while, but I really felt seen by him saying that.
Yeah. I think it's important that we all listen to that interior voice, listen to our heart in that, our sacred interior voice, even if others don't take it seriously, or worse, if they ridicule it or crush it or belittle it. Oftentimes people, even parents, will do that because of their own, because it happened to them. That's what their parents did to them, their crushed dreams. And it's just a knee-jerk kind of reaction.
They don't want you to experience crushed dreams, so they crush them in essence. It's, and so we, I think, have to put a little protective covering over that flame so the winds of ridicule don't blow it out. And don't be afraid you're going to miss it. Like with writing, I tried to write when the kids were younger. And it was in the way. I wasn't doing either one of those well, writing or raising the kids well when I was occupied with that, because it wasn't the right time. And in fact, they were teenagers. And I remember the Spirit saying to me, just wait, honey, wait until you've finished your job with the kids, because if you don't, you will be sad with yourself. But when they're out of the house, you'll be able to write to your heart's content.
I remember that. I mean, it was hard for you to wait.
Yeah.
But it was needed. And I think, and I can't think of the specific person right now, but who got their first novel published at 60, or the people that are in their 80s that are still doing theater, you know, or just starting with community theater, or after. There's a guy that we knew back in College Station, Texas, when we lived there, and he was very much involved in theater. Then he had kids and he stopped for a long time. And now I just saw on social media that he's back doing a theater role.
That's awesome.
And he's older now, so he can't do the same young roles he did, but it's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So listen to your heart, pay attention to the stirrings in your spirit.
Yes.
That you may have had for a long time, even since childhood, and just clear away the junk that people have thrown at it, sometimes without meaning to, often, and let that spark simmer again. Let it spark.
Yeah.
Let it unfold again.
I love that.
Like
a sparkler.
Like one of those candles that won't go out.
Exactly. And that was the thing about art, that I said I've loved it since I was a child, but I never really gave myself permission to do it because I had to work hard first. I had to prove my value first to earn the time off to do art. It was so convoluted. It was such a wrong way to view letting myself do art just because I wanted to.
Yeah.
And not having to earn my way. And that's the thing.
Well, your dad was an artist too.
My dad was an artist.
So maybe there was a little bit of, it had to be really good, or...
Well, the drawing, he was a very good drawer. And so I couldn't do that. Yeah. But I recently drew some things and was really happy about it.
Yeah.
So but anyway, that's, therapy is later. So, but it was more the message that I've got to use my time well. I've got to produce work.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. I got to clean the house first or whatever.
You felt guilty, and you still deal with that a little bit when you feel guilty for doing things that are
enjoyable.
Just for you, art or whatever it is.
Or journaling or playing or just whatever.
Which is crucial for us.
And I know that many of you have inherited that same guilt. If it's just part of the American ethos and definitely the church ethos, both that, you don't have to earn your way into time to do what you want to do.
Yeah. So be open to that thing, beloved, or those things that draw. See what I did there? That draw your heart in whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah. Oh, and there's one more thing.
Yeah.
I've always loved the idea of dancing. Like when I meditate, I'm in space, moving and dancing. It's always been for me. But for all of that, I was never actually dancing. And so recently, I've started dancing in the morning for like 20 minutes or half an hour. I found this thing called 5 rhythms, and you just move to each of the 5 rhythms. And it's really been enlivening to my body, and it feels good in my body. So I was like, I finally heard my body asking me to move and dance. So watch for those longings.
Yeah, by the way, sometimes our grandchild will come down and they'll dance with you too.
They will.
They'll
just shake their booty back and forth. It's so cute. But listen to what your body is telling you. Listen to what your feelings are telling you. You can meditate. You can just sit quietly and say, what would you like to do? And listen to the stirrings that you feel in your heart. And you can also ask the question, I do this a lot now, where you begin to just, write write your question and then just breathe for a second, and then just start writing and let the answer come to you. And you will get an answer. Like, you'll get stuff that you did not expect. I do this in what I call my angel journal, which is just a simple spiral notebook. And you'll be surprised at what comes out of your heart, because we are such in a habit of closing down our heart. We listen to our head, but we close down our heart because we've been told it's no good. And it's not.
Falsely taught.
Yeah, falsely taught. And it's not the ethos. It's not the ethos of a work-a-day world kind of thing. But let those stirrings just be the flashlight to, be there as you move throughout your life.
Yeah. I mean, and if you hear the inner critic, beloved, let's wrap this up here. If you hear that inner critic, you hear those voices you've heard in the past, you can just say, thanks for sharing, but I've heard from you already. And then let your heart, let the other voices speak.
Yeah. Or do what Anne Lamott does and just put your critics in a jar and move them where you can't see them. You can't hear them.
Yeah, beloved, thanks for joining us today. We're so honored to be on this journey with you. Mm-hmm. Here you go. Be you. They'll adjust. Or not, whatever. Light your inner spark and just let it shine. We love you. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
You've been listening to the FreedHearts podcast. We have extensive resources and vibrant, inclusive community for you at freedhearts.org. Please just come say hello. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions for the podcast, just email us at podcast@freedhearts.org. Audio engineering is provided by Luke Johnson. The music is provided by our daughter, Hannah Cottrell, who is Grammy nominated. You can find out more about her and her music at hannahcottrell.com. Please share, subscribe, and follow on your favorite platform, and support us if you can. Thanks for listening.